When the younger women saw how the older women loved, respected, admired, and were best friends with their husbands, they were drawn to see that close and intimate friendship with husbands, that it was possible and profitable. They learned how to encourage their own husbands, how to build them up, how to surprise them with their affection, how to cultivate a life-growing and deepening friendship. So what was the first lesson Paul asked to be taught? What was the first, number one priority for the young women? One word in the Greek language. This chapter 2, verse 4, the young women to love their husbands, that's just one word. And the word is philandrois. Translated, love their husband. It means a woman totally devoted to her husband. Some women say their husbands are no longer lovable, but having that attitude is disobedience to the clear word of God. To help your attitude, keep in mind that loving your husband doesn't mean you'll always feel the rush of emotions that characterize your love at the beginning of your relationship. Marriage is a contented commitment that goes beyond feelings to a devotedness, a level of friendship that's deep, enduring, satisfying. If you don't love your husband, you need to train yourself to love him. Serve him kindly and graciously day by day, and soon you'll make it such a great investment in him that you'll say to yourself, I've put so much of myself into this guy, how can I not help but love him? It's a sin to disobey being best friends emotionally with your husband. The best way to fill a home with joy and peace is to have a husband and wife who are best friends, intimately, emotionally, spiritually. In Paul's day, men and women were saved out of a culture where romantic love usually did not exist in marriages. Did you think about that? That's kind of a new thing in our day. Romantic love in the world, the Greco-Roman world, really didn't exist. If you read the history, if you read the culture, wives were only seen as the trusted keepers of the home, the bearers of children. Emotional love, psychological needs, and sexual desires were satisfied outside of marriage by the majority of husbands. That's just how the culture was designed. You go on a tour of the ancient world, and you go to where the men were, and you go to the athletic area and the recreational area and the public spas, and right next to all that was the illicit sexual activity. It was where the men were, and it was constantly available and constantly appropriated in the ancient world. The opportunities for illicit sexual behavior in the Roman world were endless. For some women in the Roman world, that was a relief because they didn't have to supply that need for their husband on a regular basis. But the emotional and relational superglue that the sexual dimension of a marital relationship produced was also absent. That's why there was no closeness back then. God designed marriage in the Garden of Eden to cause a man to cleave to his wife, which literally means to be glued together, to find this bond that cannot be broken, tightly knit, fitted together. Salvation stopped the immorality of most of those believing men's lives back then, but salvation did not make them or their wives instantly close or intimate or life-sharing friends or lovers. Just as modern premarital moral laxity has scarred many young couples into a troubled, often superficial marital relationship, so were most of the marriages of the New Testament church. So what was Paul's Spirit-prompted answer to that problem? What was to be the way to solve the distant, detached, constantly tempted husbands who were saved but were daily buffeted with the overpowering allurements in a flagrantly immoral Roman society? What did Paul say was the device to help those men out there in the world, in the culture that was so abysmal? Well, Christ led Paul to deploy a legion of older in the faith, godly women, energized by grace, to go from house to house, to become close and trusted friends of those young wives, and to train them how to become their husband's best, closest, dearest, and most intimate friend. Physical love without romance is soon empty and meaningless. As Solomon, who had a lot of experience, said, it becomes like gravel in the mouth, Proverbs 20. Paul knew that to protect those newly believing husbands and fathers from the tidal wave of temptations, they must have a vibrant, attractive, satisfying emotional and physical relationship with their wife. Husbands who are drawn to think about and want to see their wife throughout a day away from home are protected from the attractions and distractions that a wicked world about them produces. Paul told Titus to fill the church with loving, caring, romantic wives who love their husbands in this biblical way, who came through the example and training of godly, older, grace-energized women who said, it works. God changed me. God can change you.